Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams with Blue Book MKE and Let's Level Up Your Business five-day challenge. In today's video, I'm going to talk about feeling. I think that if business owners, either new business owners or business owners trying to level up their business, would understand how their feelings work within their business, we would all be able to get to a new place. Now, when I make videos, I don't make videos where I'm just trying to pick a subject and just talk about it and try to come up with things. I talk about stuff that I experience in my own life or from business owners that I work with, and I'm telling them from my own experiences, this is how you might want to consider working through some of these issues that come about. One of the things that you should understand clearly, if you take anything from this video, is that you will not do anything that you don't feel like. Even if it was good for you, you will not do something that you do not feel like doing. Like, there's plenty of times where people will be in bed and they slept all night and they say, I don't feel like getting up, even though you probably had 7-8 hours of sleep. Maybe you go to a restaurant and you look at their menu and you say, I don't feel like eating anything that they had here. Or you go, someone asks you to go somewhere with them, maybe to the nightclub or maybe to a basketball game or something, and you say you don't feel like it. Well, this is the thing, is that something that I learned a long time ago, and it was from Arnold Schwarzenegger said it, and then also Marshall Silver, who is one of my mentors, the world's greatest hypnotist, and then you have the world's greatest bodybuilder. And this is what they would say, is that for most things in life, you will not get to the next level unless you do it when you don't feel like doing it. So you go to work. If you work for somebody, you may not feel like going to work, but you go to work. And then you end up getting the result of going to work, which is your paycheck. As a business owner, if you do not feel like going to work, you could end up losing your business. So a lot of business owners will go to work and they will just, go through the motions. But most business owners are able to survive with that. But at some point, the business owner is going to get to that feeling of, am I just doing this just to make the same amount of money that I was making at my job? Or I'm making more money, but I have more things to do, more responsibilities. I actually have a friend of mine. He sold his UPS store. He had one of those UPS franchises for a number of years, and he sold it and got out of it. And I said, well, what are you going to do next? He said, I'm going to go work for somebody where I don't have all of the responsibilities. I just want to go home at night. So he got to that feeling of, he don't want to do all of that stuff to keep that business going. Yes, he was making more money. Yes, he was the boss. Yes, he was in charge. He could sit back there and be on his phone or go eat lunch when he wanted to eat lunch and let the workers do their stuff. Yes, there was more responsibility. You got to, work with your accountants to pay taxes. All of this stuff. He got to a level to where he did not feel like doing it anymore. Even though owning his own business gave him more security, gave him more money, gave him more power, gave him more control over his life. So that proves my point that even if something is good for you, if you don't feel like it, you will not do it. So let's relate this to business. And I'm going to talk about some of the things that happened to me while growing my business, and it still happens to me to this day. And I'm going to tell you how I deal with it, because when you're starting a business, this is where you're at. You're at this level here. You're at this level. You're starting right here. And you want to level up to the next. That's either you start the business and you want to start getting it going, or you want to increase your business. There's going to be this little area right here And I call this, I guess the best way to call it is just like a total uncomfort zone. But this is where people get fooled. Remember on Star Wars, if any of you watch Star Wars, and they would tell Luke Skywalker, you need to control your feelings because your feelings will betray you. You need to control your feelings because your feelings will betray you. Well, the same thing happens with business when you try to level up, is that what most business owners don't understand, and what I had to learn, is that when you level up with your business, is that you're going to go through this feeling phase. And this feeling phase is very uncomfortable. And it's not uncomfortable because it's not right with what you're doing. It's uncomfortable because you've never been in this position. So when you're taking how you feel from right here, which is a level of comfort, even though it may not be what you wanted in life, you have been living in it, and you have that habit of whatever you have right here with where you're starting, is that you're going to have that level of comfort. You know everything about that, even if it's uncomfortable. But when you try to level up, you try to move into a new level for your business, for your life, whatever it is, you're going to have this feeling that comes about, and that feeling that comes about is going to be an uncomfortable feeling, not because it's not right for you. It's going to be uncomfortable because you've never been there. And so your brain, your body, everything is going to be fighting against you. That's why I made this here, because it really doesn't make sense. And everybody is going to have something that's going to try to draw them back to get you back over here. It's going to try to do everything to get you back to your comfort zone. It's going to do that. It's going to tell you if you're trying to advertise your business, maybe the first ad won't work. Maybe the ad worked and then you got leads and people don't answer the phone, or people are not closing. All of these things are going to come here in this section to make you feel uncomfortable. And what you have to do is you have to break through. You have to have that breakthrough. And if you can break through, remember I told you about what Arnold Schwarzenegger said, he's in Marshall Silver, is that they said that you have to get used to being uncomfortable, because soon as you get used to that uncomfortable level, you will start to notice, and this is what happened to me, is that all of a sudden, everything that didn't look right, that made you uncomfortable, will start to make a picture, a complete picture. See, you don't know how. When you try to level up, you know, you have a sense of what you want to do. You may even have a roadmap and a plan to do it. But that road, just because you have a roadmap, just because you have a business plan, you can have all of that, it still is going to run into problems. And you need to understand, I think it's The Laws of Success, Napoleon Hill, page 1019. Cosmic Habit Force. It talks about putting together a plan, and if the plan doesn't work, you put together another plan. You put together another plan. You put together another plan until you get the plan to work, but you don't get away from the goal. The goal is to level up your business, but right here is where everything is all mixed up, and you just have to put together another plan. What most people do is that they retract and they go back to where they started. That's why a lot of people who try to start a business, they are never able to quit their job, or they just keep paying for their business to stay open, and they're never able to quit their job because they really are afraid of going through this full breakthrough, uncomfortable level to get to a higher level of comfort. So this is the crazy thing, is that you got to go through this every time. I was thinking that when I started a business and it became successful, that I would be able to go to the next level easier. Yes, you can go to the next level easier because you may have more resources, but one thing that does not change, it remains consistent, is that this zone of feeling, it just doesn't change. Let me tell you what I went through with one of my companies, is that first I had started that business and we were trying to figure out a way to get more customers. And we had, did some of the things that any business would do. We would, talk to companies about generating leads. I would also do things to generate leads. And the business was just not working. It was just not working. But one of the things when I thought about it, when I just said, okay, what am I doing? What works? What doesn't work? What ended up being the solution, which I had to get out of that comfort zone, was that I had to market that business every day, not once a week, not every other day, not every other month. I had to do a consistent ad. That meant that I had to commit to a daily budget of spending money to generate leads for that business. And it took about a 3-month cycle before it really started to show the whole picture that came together. Remember I said that you're doing these things, and then all of a sudden when you level up and you get to that next level, that picture starts to get clear. And that's exactly what happened to me for that business, is that the further out that I went, I stayed consistent. I stayed in that level of, that feeling level of uncomfort, to where all of a sudden the picture started to appear. And it was like, okay, these plans are working. And that took a full 3 months to really pay back in revenue. But I saw almost within 7 days, I saw that we were on the right track of something happening, something good. But what the uncomfortable feeling that some business owners have a hard time getting comfortable with is to spend money on that marketing to continue to have those leads come in, and then they start to work on closing those leads. So what I find with businesses, this is what I find. So you got this. This is where you start. This is the feeling when you're trying to have that breakthrough. And until you break through, you're going to have this feeling of whatever you fear. And everybody has different fears. It's going to be for marketing. It could be for, doing something consistently that when you're not used to doing that, you're going to have that breakthrough. And when you start to make those breakthroughs, when you get to this level, you're going to have a clear picture. And then you're going to have to go through it again and again and again. That's just what you're going to have to go through. It will be easier now because I'm giving you some knowledge about that. This is just part of it. Just like if you have a business plan, you know that we just got to have a business plan as a roadmap, but we may veer off and make adjustments on that map. I would say that understanding this is even a more important roadmap to understanding success, because business plans, you can look, almost every business fails. And if you talk to business owners who are successful, I was just having a conversation with one in my office yesterday. The number one thing that made a difference with his business is he has 8 restaurants, is that he and his brother understands that you're gonna have a feeling of uncomfort when you try to get to the next level. They started one restaurant and people were saying, oh, where you're at, what you're doing, it's not going to work, all this stuff. They even talked about, hey, this is uncomfortable, but we're just going to do it. And they did it. And now I think it's about 10, 12 years later, and they're very successful, have 8 restaurants. So they broke through. Now, this is what I talk about. This is what I believe business owners are experiencing. And as a matter of fact, when I was talking with him, he expressed, because he was here in my office and we were talking about how to market a new service that he wanted to offer. And he was like, even though he's a successful business owner, he has resources, he has the money, he has people that work for him, and he even has a marketing team, and he still had that feeling of, if I need to sit down with you because this is the product, this is the service that I want to offer, but I don't know how I can get this working. And that goes to that feeling. Anytime you don't know 100% of something, you're gonna have that feeling come about. And so what I told him, I said, let's not really talk about the product per se. Let's just talk about what you need to do to make the product successful. Because everybody is going to know, this is my product or service right here. This is your product or service. So this is how you make your money. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. But what everybody doesn't know is, how do you get to this? How do you get to this? And online is like amazing. Like online is like like for me is like being in a toy store, because you can do things so quickly with setting up ads, with generating leads, with closing out sales. You can run that process really within a week, and you can make your adjustments to from the results in a quick amount of time. So what I did is I sat down and I said, okay, if you know that you want to make money with the product, and let's just say your product or service, he had a service that he wanted to offer. I said, well, how many people, and he knew this, and you may not know this. I was like, well, how many people you think you would have to talk to be able to get them to buy your service? And his service, I think it was $3,600 a month for the service. So $3,600 a month. I said, well, you know, how many people you got to get to talk to get to that? And he started working back in his mind, and he was kind of relating it to his restaurant, where you blow it out there with advertisements to people, just let them know what you have, and lunches and all that stuff, and try to get them to come in. It's a different way to market, but in a way it's similar, but he's relating everything to that. And I said that if you're trying to sell a service, number one, people are not always, they need the service, but they're not always looking for calling someone about the service. But they want the service. And then you have two options. He talked to someone before he came to me, and he said, well, we can scrape websites and get people's email addresses and phone numbers to business owners, and then we can mass email them to thousands per day, and text and all. And I was like, well, that sounds good. That's going to cost money, but let me tell you, there's a better way. And there's a better way where you can be compliant also with all of the telemarketing rules and stuff that are out there. Why would you get into something like that when you could do it the way that I'm going to share with you to do it? So I told him is that he should pick a platform. It could be any of the platforms that offer lead generation. And I said, for example, what if you choose Facebook, where you just make an ad on Facebook for the services that you have? You can make a simple ad that just describes the service that you offer, and offer those business owners to leave their info. So have we made it hard for the individual that maybe want the service? No. Have we placed an ad, long as we're not lying about what we're offering? Have we broken any rules? Have we made any promises that we can't keep? No. And then when they leave their information, did we force them to leave their information? Did we scrape their websites or get their information off of LinkedIn or off of some Facebook group where we're just interrupting them? No. They're asking for information about the service. That's the way that I do it, and I think that would be a very nice lead and a very nice conversation when you get to get that person on the phone. So I told him, when you get that information, you can have your reps call, text, and then I told him that he should get a follow-up email sequence in place. And a lot of people have said, and when I've made videos, some of the comments, and people would say, well, no one reads email. And I was like, what is the first thing that you do in the morning? Is that you look at your email. And how many times do you look at your email throughout the day? What it is that people don't open emails that don't interest them. And people don't want to get spammed with emails. So if someone leaves their information from an ad and they get an email and you remind them of the information that they requested, do you think that the likelihood of that individual opening up the email is likely? I don't even have to really, this is something that I go through for all of my businesses, and I know people, what I've experienced with this is that people don't even take their name, even if they don't become a client, they never take their name off the list because they still want to get information, because they're just waiting for that day that maybe they get it all set up in their own mind that they're ready to move forward. So I said, if you have all of this stuff in place, and I suggest having a 5-day sequence when you start, and then you can pull out to 30 days later as you build it out, because you don't want to never overwhelm someone if they're doing all of this work themselves. We do this for companies, but if you're doing this yourself, don't overwhelm yourself. Just do 5 days of email reminding them about what they opted in for, and then tell them that they may either receive a call or a text about the service. That's all you got to do. You don't got to make this more complicated than it is. And then once you start to get your ad is working, you're getting leads, you're getting people on the phone, the next thing that you have to do is you just have to run through that uncomfortable process of selling people. If you're selling people by phone, or if you're meeting them at their location, every business is going to have to go through that process. And I see that that's a very uncomfortable level for business owners. And let me tell you why. If I've had people, I get this a lot with people who got into insurance, and they sold insurance for another company, and then they decided to go on their own. And one of the first things that they find out is that they do not have enough people to talk to. Is that they didn't even know that their insurance company was providing leads for them to call. They were paying for that. The insurance company was doing this right here, either by online or by TV, radio, all of that. The company is not just giving you a cold call list. Yeah, some companies might do that. You might see that on Wall Street and places like that, but that's very high intense. We're not even talking about that level of calling out, and I wouldn't even suggest you even do it that way. But the companies are already doing this. I meet so many entrepreneurs who start a business. It could be in network marketing, it could be in any type of industry, and the number one thing that it just shocks them. It gets them to where they go. Some of them even quit, or they just kind of just stay stagnant with their business, is that they never figured out this part of their business. And the reason why is they never paid attention to it, because that was taken care of by the company that they worked for. Let me tell you, if you're thinking about starting a business, this is going to probably be one of the best pieces of advice that you ever have gotten, is that if you're starting a business, you better find out how that business makes money. Because no matter what, every business has to bring in customers. And if you do not understand, if you're getting into that same business and you don't understand the structure of how they bring in customers, you will fail in that business quick. And then if you start another business that's not in the same field or industry that you worked in, you have to still understand how to bring in more people to talk to. Because the only problem that you should have when it comes down to it is that you should have to figure out ways to talk to more people, because you're going to have so many leads coming in that you're going to try to figure out different techniques, different concepts, different strategies to talk to more people. And we won't get into it in this video, but for one of my companies, we have literally hundreds of people per day that inquire about the services for that business. Hundreds. And we are not able to talk to all 100. So we have to put them through a process to where we let them know that we're going to be getting in touch with them, and that please take a look at more information that we have available. And and we have opportunities where they can become clients without talking to a rep, and then later they would be able to speak with our customer service team. So, but that's a good problem. You don't want to have a problem where you don't have enough people to talk to. Because I've talked to plenty of business owners where it's like, how many calls did you get today? How many leads do you have today? How many people do you have that are interested in your business that came, left their information, said, call me about your product or service? How many people do you have? And a lot of them will be like, well, today was slow. I didn't have that many. So I want to thank you for your time. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please post your questions and comments. I do have links below this video for my Let's Level Up Your Business 5-Day Challenge. You can take my 5-day program. I'm going to teach you how to advertise to bring in more leads and also help you make more sales. I got some very good content in there. And what I tell people to do is, if you just follow it, I guarantee you're going to have more people to talk to about your product or service, unless you just have one that nobody wants to buy. So subscribe to the channel, post your questions and comments, like this video. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams of Blue Book MKE.